Okay, so they want to know which inequality best represents this graph. First off, I know that A or B can't be right because this is a closed dot and that would be an open dot. So it has to be C or D. So let's solve C and let's solve D. If I solve C, I'm going to get x is greater than 3. And if I solve D, I'm going to get x is greater than negative 3. And since it's greater than 3, I know it's got to be C. Try the next problem. Okay, so our first problem is one that's like this. So we're going to go through each of the exponents and see what we get. Well, 9 to the 0 is just 1. Y to the 7th is just y to the 7th. And a negative exponent, if you remember, tells us to divide. So that just goes to the bottom. So really what our answer would look like would be y7 over t11. Let's try the next one. For these exponents, because we're multiplying them, just think about how you'd write this out. For this one, I would write out 6 sixes. For this one, I would divide by 6 twice. And for this one, I'd write out 5 sixes. So multiplying these things actually is just like adding them together. So 6 plus negative 2 would be 4. And then if you added another 5, that would get you to 9. So this is 6 radical 9, which could be some really, really big number. Let's try the next one. If you think about this one, you'd write c squared 5 times. So that's like c squared times c squared times c squared times c squared times c squared. And again, from the last time, it's like adding, so this would be c to the 10th. The fast way is if you raise an exponent to an exponent, it's the same as multiplying. Let's try the next one. If you remember, dividing exponents is like subtracting because they cross out, because like c divided by c would just be 1. So if you cancel them out, 12 minus 15 is negative 3. So you have 3 c's on the bottom. That's really what happens. They all cancel out, and then you just have 3 left on the bottom. Let's try the next one. Okay. As soon as I see these negative exponents, I know that they're going to divide. So this one's going to flip to the bottom, and that one's going to flip to the top. So I'm going to have m to the 5th over m to the 2nd, which again, when you're stacked, these things are going to divide, and when they are going to subtract, and when they subtract, you're going to be left with 3 m's. Let's try the next one. Okay, so for this one, this isn't in standard form because I have multiple x squareds, so I could combine those. That would be negative 2x squared plus 5x minus 5. And so when I'm looking through my answers, I know that this is a quadratic because it's to the 2nd degree. And I know this is a trinomial since I have 3 terms. So we would get B because this one matches exactly. Let's try the next one. For this one, if you remembered, what I told you is you want to stack these things because it makes it a little bit easier. So this would be 24x to the 5th minus 9x to the 5th. And then we'd have 12x, but that doesn't have anything to minus. And we would have 11x squared that becomes in there that doesn't have anything to minus. Well, 24 minus 9 would give you 15. And this is like 0x squareds matched with 11. So 0 minus 11 is negative 11x squared. And 12 minus 0 would just be 12x's. So that would be my final answer. The other way you could do this is you could take that negative and kind of distribute it among those things. And then just combine like terms. If I have to factor out the greatest common factor, the greatest common factor of this is 3 and an x, because I can take out a 3 from each one of these and an x from each one of these. And that's going to leave me with 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. And that would be my final answer. Try the next one. For this one, I would want to distribute because I have 2 parentheses pressed up. When you distribute or FOIL, you're going to get 4b squared plus 12b minus 2b minus 6. That's going to give you 4b squared minus 10, or plus 10b minus 6, and that would be my final answer. Let's try the next one. Again, for this, you're going to want a FOIL, which is going to give me 8w squared plus 40w plus 2w plus 10. And that's going to be 8w squared plus 42w plus 10. Let's try the next one. For this, when I do it, I'm going to get 6x minus 8. And since you're squaring it, you have to times it by itself again. So 6x minus 8. We're going to FOIL that over. I'm going to get 36x squared minus, that would give me, well, 6 times 8 would be 48x. This would be negative 48x. And this would be plus 64. That's going to give me 36x squared minus 96x plus 64. And that would be my final answer. Let's try the last problem.